Hi everyone, welcome to Fast Intelligent Care. This is our part 3 with Jemma Cooke, and we're going to be talking about profiling and height adjustable beds in today's episode. So Jemma, when we're looking at profiling and height adjustable beds, what are some type of clients that would need something like that? Would need and a lot of times I get OTs asking me what is a profiling bed. So if you can maybe talk us through what you would kind of explain how you would explain what a profiling bed is.
Yeah, sure. Profiling height adjustable beds are definitely becoming sort of more and more common these days. There's plenty of people that are, we're recommending them for all sorts of, different conditions, whether it's, just, age related, it might be a bit more disability specific, to a diagnosis. These sort of beds, electric beds, people sort of call them, hospital beds. These days, there's so many different names for them. I kind of, when I'm explaining these sort of beds to people, they very much are like a hospital bed. They function the same. They have all the same adjustments. But in sort of the community space, they're, home care, looking. They look a lot more like regular beds. Really they're the benefits of these beds are to support people getting in and out of bed a bit more easily, get them into a more suitable, comfortable position. We see like lots of people that are coming in and they're just like, the main thing is that they struggle to get in and out of bed. There's a high risk of falls. They're slipping off, generally it's not just the bed, but, the mattress as well, slipping off the edge of the mattress. And then some people are coming to us because if we go back to sort of talking about the recliner chairs and sleeping in chairs, they're doing that because their current bed, isn't suitable. So that's where we would sort of be recommending adjustable beds, for these clients to sort of help support them getting in and out of bed, being, a lot more safely, and, being more comfortable in bed.
Yeah. And is there any features of those kind of hospital profiling height adjustable beds that you would kind of prioritize when you have someone coming in saying, hey, I need a bed? What maybe even thinking, because it's going to be different for every client, what are kind of the questions you're asking to help figure out what are those bed features that you're going to prioritize?
Yeah, so when these people are sort of coming in, they're sort of, I need an adjustable bed, an electric bed. So for me, and for like what I always recommend is a bed that has height adjustability, because there is plenty of electric beds, hospital style beds out there that don't have the height adjustability. So it might just be that, the backrest and the leg rest, can change. But, typically with those beds, they're not, suitable for the client because they're not set to the right height. They might be too high or too low. So definitely a key feature, I would always recommend that the bed is height adjustable. Because when these people are coming in, we're not just wanting to get them a bed that's going to be suitable for them, for now or the foreseeable future. It's actually going to be a bed that they're going to need, use for a long time. And as their, mobility changes, their diagnosis might progress, things like that. We want to make sure that that bed is going to be suitable, and continue to be suitable, for their needs. Definitely looking at, the height adjustability. Also, if the bed has, the ability to add, different aids onto it, whether it's, a grab rail or full length rails, self-help pole, footboards, all of those different features. So again, people do come in and, they might have one of those electric sort of beds, but, they're still struggling to get in and out of bed because they've got nothing to hold on to it. So those beds aren't designed for rails to sort of be added. So it's definitely important, with these beds, having the right setup that you can add, attachments onto the bed, which might, help that person. Or it might be that they're needing full length rails, because it's a person that, you want to prevent them from sort of falling out of bed. It's going to be safer, for the rails to be there. And then also having a footboard is actually really important, especially when people might need an air mattress or something. So attaching
Oh, okay. Yeah,
to
good
the end of
point.
the bed.
Yeah.
That's sort of something that I've come across quite a bit recently is, the footboard's actually, quite important for particularly adding that onto the end of the bed, because you don't want the pump sort of sitting on the floor. It gets in the way. It can get squashed under the bed.
Yeah.
It's also helpful when you've got, a bed with the Trendelenburg feature. So again, it's important, using that feature, having the footboard as well, because you don't want the person sort of being able to slide, off the end of the bed. Same thing, having the headboard there. You don't want them to be able to slide the other way. So yeah, so they're sort of like the key sort of, features. And most of the time, yeah, when people are coming in, they're sort of needing all of those things, and might not be now, but like I said,
So wait if you're
try. Yeah, so they, you can keep adapting and changing the bed so it suits them, rather than get a bed that's going to suit them for a short period of time, and they having to replace that bed with something that's got extra features on it.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And I think as you were talking about the bed rails and everything, I was thinking about, like, with pressure care as well, how important that bed mobility is, and how important it is that we can give that ability to the client to do that independently as much as possible. So thinking of your pressure care, which we will get to in our last part, but not thinking just about the mattress, but also about that ability to be able to reposition in bed.
Yeah, definitely. And especially when, that person is either, at home alone, or, they're sort of wanting to maintain that independence and not be relying on, a family member or a caregiver to sort of assist them with repositioning. Yeah. Sometimes having those rails there, it's not just to help them getting in and out of bed, but it's also to support them with sort of turning and repositioning themselves during the night, and, just being able to maintain some level of independence there.
Yeah. And when it comes to bed sizes, what is something that that you think is worth considering? Because you would get clients that will be happy, having king, single, which is typically what all profiling beds are coming in. But I know something that I get often asked is the ability for those beds to be like a partner bed. Mm-hmm. So for someone to be able to actually sleep next to their partner. Is that something that you think the beds that are currently out there are actually allowing for that? What are maybe some things that we need to consider when we are wanting to do something like a partner bed, or even just looking at bed sizing? What is some considerations that OTs need to take into account?
Yeah, so definitely, like, we have all sorts of people coming in wanting to all different size beds. Generally, we would be looking at a single or a king single when it's just for one person. But there's definitely lots of suppliers out there, lots of different beds out there that enable, the partner's setup, which I think is really important. Especially when you've got a client that's come in and, they're a couple and they've been married for many, many years, and they're used to sleeping side by side. And all of a sudden, one of the one of the clients, their mobility's changed. They're now needing an adjustable bed because they can't sleep in the regular bed. And you might be looking at, is there space for that bed to go into the existing bedroom, to go beside the existing bed? Most of the time, that's not going to work unless they've got a huge, massive room. So then it's looking at, okay, is this bed going to go into a different room, which means, now they're going to have to be separated, which,
it's quite sad, man.
It's sad. It's not fair to sort of go like, okay, now we have to separate you. So definitely see more and more companies have options for a partner setup. And whether that's, the one client's on high adjustable beds, whereas the other client might be on still just a static bed and they're able to sit side by side, or looking at, both of them having their own height adjustable beds, which I always think is really important, because they might both have, quite different needs. You might have someone who's a bit more advanced, complex needs. They may need to sleep more upright, their legs elevated, where the other partner, might still be sleeping flat. So I think it's, important that they have their own sort of independence there, different sort of bed setups. in saying that, we also have, some people coming in. It might just be that they sleep alone, but they're being used to sleeping in a double bed or a queen size bed. And, for those people, I'll definitely speak to them about, looking at, say, a king single, because I know a single bed is generally quite small.
Yeah.
Anyone, a queen all the way to a single. Um, they're trying, like, generally, when these people that come in and they're like, I'm, quite adamant on a double or a queen size, I don't talk them out of it, but I'm sort of
Mm.
talk about the benefits of why a king single might be a better option for them. Like I said, when we're prescribing these beds, it's not just for right now. Right now they might still be a bit more mobile. They're just needing the adjustments to help them getting in and out of bed, make them more comfortable. But there might come a time where they're needing actual physical assistance. They might need, equipment, different transfer aids to, assist them with getting out of bed. And when they've got, say, a double or a queen bed, that makes it really difficult for caregivers to come in and be able to provide that care to them and get that equipment in. So generally, when those people are sort of more adamant on, a bigger bed, we do sort of look into, okay, let's maybe look into downsizing to a king single where you've still got, the ability to turn and you've got space.
Yes.
So it creates so much more space in the bedroom as well. And yeah, so I think generally with those people, they do sort of go, okay, and consider downsizing because they're
Mm.
thinking about, future.
Yeah, I always mention the benefit of that king single as well with if someone is doing their bed riding independently, it's nice to have that little bit of extra space that you're not having to like turn like a little like rotisserie chicken to try and turn
Yeah,
the bed.
just the single size, yeah, especially for people who are still like a bit more like independent. They're,
Mm.
it might be they might be a bigger person as well. So like, and they've, gone from sleeping a much bigger bed, having the space to, a single. I guess again, it comes down to like sometimes their funding as well, and
Yeah.
what they've got available at the time, and looking at, okay, right now you've only got, enough funds to get a single size, but you really need the bed right now, versus, do we wait a little bit longer, till you have accumulated more funds for the king single size?
Mm.
In those cases as well, whereas, they don't always have to purchase the bed straight away. It might be that, with our company, we do hire. So it might be,
Yeah.
hiring the bed initially until they build up those funds to be able to purchase sort of what they want.
Mm.
But yeah, often we do see people that are sort of, a bit more reluctant to downsizing. Sometimes it's just they sleep on one side of the bed, say in a queen, and the other bed is just to keep, things that they need to access, their
Okay.
phone and the TV remote, and,
Yeah.
they sort of store all that on the beds. Uh, so for those people, generally we go, okay, well, let's maybe look at getting you an overbed table or something,
Yeah.
those things on. So it's not gonna, it means, doesn't mean that those things have to go away and you now can't access them,
Mm.
which is obviously gonna, decrease their independence. So we would look at those things as well. Yeah, when we are sort of downsizing to, say, a king single.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point. I've never actually thought about that of um when you are sleeping in bed, you're not always that little bit of extra space, you're not really using it. But yeah, I didn't think of like that someone might be actually putting stuff that they need to access very easily. So that's actually a really good solution. So um I think when I do have like a case like that, it's good to then look at what are they using that extra space for turning, or is it actually that space is used for, you know, to have a maybe something important very close to them or easily accessible. So that's a really good point. Do you have any success stories of a bed setup that worked really well?
There's probably, yeah, plenty of success stories. I think every one of my clients that's come in and they've gone from, say, sleeping in just a regular standard bed, whether it's, um, sleeping in a queen bed on their own or with their partner, and now they've got an adjustable bed. Um, that's got the headboard and the footboard, and they've got maybe a rail there to support them getting in and out of bed. There's plenty of clients that have come in, and it's just made such a huge difference. Then they are able to safely get in and out of bed. Their families, aren't so stressed and worried that, their loved one is going to be, falling out of bed, because sometimes with these cases, I've seen clients that have had multiple falls, out of the bed, slipping off the edge of the bed because it's just not suitable. But by implementing an adjustable bed with an appropriate mattress and having the right aids in place, then they're able to sort of get in and out of bed safely, and a lot more easily. They're more comfortable, and it just takes the stress off, family members, that they're safe.
Yeah, and I can imagine that would have improved sleep quality for a lot of clients as well, knowing that you're not going to be, falling out of bed when you're rolling over, or just knowing that,
definitely. It's quite scary for some of these people, especially, I've seen people where it's happened multiple times, and, they've even ended up in hospital because of, injuries from that. So, and that's a massive concern for, the family members, because they want their parents to, to be as independent as possible. And it might be that their wish is to stay at home. So, keeping them safe and doing everything we can to ensure that they can continue living safely at home. So generally we do see that, with these beds.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you, Jemma. We will go on to our next episode where we'll talk about everything pressure care.